Welcome to the premiere of GNV On The Move, a half-hour program showcasing the City of Gainesville's initiatives, programs, events, and people. I'm your host, Jennifer Smart. This is an exciting time for Gainesville as we strive to create a community that is equitable, sustainable, resilient, and a great place to live and experience. We are a city on the move. In this episode, we'll explore steps you can take to keep you and your family safe during hurricane season. We'll update you on city initiatives addressing housing, pedestrian safety, gun violence, and services to assist neighbors experiencing homelessness. We'll also take a look at the latest art exhibit at the historic Thomas Center Galleries. But first, here is my conversation with Gainesville Mayor Harvey Ward. We discussed economic development, the Eastside Health and Economic Development Initiative, and the steps the city is taking, along with its community partners, to curb gun violence. Harvey Ward was elected mayor of Gainesville in November of 2022, after first being elected to the Gainesville City Commission in March 2017 and re-elected in 2020. Mayor Ward, welcome to GNV On The Move.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and to be on the move with the city. It's a great time to be serving at City Hall.
I think I should point out that we took our title from something that you helped us create, an On the Move booklet, which is sort of a documentation of all of the interesting projects and initiatives that are currently underway in the city of Gainesville, and an easy way for people to understand everything that we're doing to help the city grow and become even bigger and better than it is today.
Well, thank you for the credit on that. That was mostly not my doing, but I'm happy to have had to have played a part in that. And I think we have an online version of that as well. So if folks want to Google that, there's lots of ways to see what we're on the move at. So to expand on what we'll be talking about today.
So as we begin, I want to sort of rewind a little bit to the early days of Harvey Ward, because you, unlike many of us in Gainesville, are actually a native Gainesvillian, born here, generations of your family here. So give us a little bit of that background.
Sure. My family is, I'm actually fifth generation Alachua County, which there are more of us than a lot of people realize, but it was a great town to grow up in, but I think it is a better town to raise my kids in than it was back in the 70s and 80s. I'm glad to have grown up here, but I think what we're able to offer our neighbors today is such a greater value than what we were able to offer then. We're not a sleepy college town anymore. We really are on the move, and I'm happy to be able to be along for that ride and try to drive the bus a little bit as we go.
And so as you were growing up here, are there things that you look back on now and you realize this was sort of a learning moment for me, or something that shaped the person I became as I started to want to do things for my hometown?
Sure. I mean, I grew up in East Gainesville, and I never lived west of Waldo Road until I was a college graduate. And so East Gainesville has a real place in my heart. I want to make sure that we're able to take good care of everybody in our city, because I grew up around people who did not have some of the advantages that I ended up having.
And I don't know that any conversation about economic development in East Gainesville would be complete without looking at the historical record, which is that not enough has been done for East Gainesville.
Correct.
People are quite, as you say, correct when they make that observation. So what has led to that consistently being so challenging? And let's sort of understand that before we talk about the growth that we have projected for East Gainesville.
So the history of East Gainesville is such that it really was, that's where our community started. What we think of as East Gainesville proper now really was Gainesville until not that long ago in the great scheme of things. And when I was growing up on East University Avenue, not far away on Hawthorne Road and on Waldo Road and on East University, east of Waldo, there were restaurants, there were bank branches, there were home improvement stores, grocery stores, all the things you expect in a community. And all that really tailed off in the late 70s. You could see it changing, with the addition of I-75 on the far west side of town at the time, and the Oaks Mall soon to follow that, and even the Gainesville Mall a little earlier than that. department stores started leaving downtown, and then the traditional white flight happened from East Gainesville, and the literal complexion of East Gainesville changed over a fairly short period of time. And by the late 80s, early 90s, there were no more home improvement stores in East Gainesville. There were no more bank branches by the mid-90s. There were no more, or very few at least, restaurants offering themselves along the Hawthorne Road corridor and certainly East University Avenue. So you saw the private sector contract and move first a little west and then far west in the community because the private sector followed dollars on rooftops, as they say. And that's a vicious cycle that makes it hard for more private business to fill those gaps. Because once people start moving and it becomes less dense, even if it's not racial, as a lot of it is, but even if it's not, it's hard to convince a business, no, you need to invest here. You need to be the pioneer in this community so that folks can enjoy a better quality of life in that part of the community.
And so for many years now, there has been groundwork being laid to bring in some of that economic development and some of those opportunities and conveniences. And we have a city commission now that has really championed development in East Gainesville, and a city manager who is leading programs and ideas to give us that kind of progress. So one of the things that I know you are excited about, and really the whole city organization is the Eastside Health and Economic Development Initiative, which we've been calling EHEDI.
Right, so the site of the old Crevasses Florist, for old Gainesville folks, is now, came into, over the years, into ownership of UF Health. And UF Health partnered with the City of Gainesville and with Alachua County to put an urgent care clinic on Hawthorne Road near the old Gainesville Drive-In, again for folks who have been around for a while, into what we call the EHEDI site. And that was the cornerstone of EHEDI. That and the GTech Center, which the City of Gainesville started investing in 20 years ago. We currently have at the GTech Center and the Cornerstone campus overall next door to that, we've got about 100, 150 people working there every day already through investments that the City of Gainesville has made. But we're improving that and putting this new Eastside Health and Economic Development Initiative campus between the UF Health Urgent Care Center, which I believe we'll be cutting the ribbon on the end of this summer, to serve people living on the Hawthorne Road corridor. Instead of having to go all the way to Shands proper, UF Health is offering a variety of urgent care and expanded diagnostic services right there in the heart of East Gainesville. And we at the City of Gainesville are following our co-investment in that with a regional transit system hub, which will be sharing a parking lot with the urgent care center. And we're in conversation with a variety of grocery store opportunities to site there and be purpose-built on that same site. We have already started building through a new street to connect Southeast 8th Avenue and the Lincoln Estates neighborhood with the Hawthorne Road corridor. So there'll be easier grid transportation there and easier access to the new the urgent care facility and the RTS facility, and hopefully the grocery store facility that will be growing there. And this is a 37-acre site that, again, we're putting all the infrastructure in there. The City of Gainesville and our partners are in the process of making tens of millions of dollars of investment in the core of East Gainesville, where investment has been scarce for the last 40, 50 years. Really proud to be a part of that.
And so let's pull out a little bit and look at that bigger picture of economic development for the full City of Gainesville, because I know that's something that you're very interested in furthering down the road.
Yeah, I was just earlier today talking with our GCRA director just to make sure I had my stats right. And throughout the community reinvestment area in the City of Gainesville, which is all of downtown and lots of East Gainesville and a variety of other smaller parts of the community, we have invested over the last 2 to 3 years more than $600,000 in business development grants. So we've already been doing pretty high level economic development work with a variety of different kinds of businesses. Everything from a new taco shop on Waldo Road that we invested tens of thousands of dollars cooperatively with them to build out their new shop, to the South Main Station, the old Baird Center on South Main Street across the road from Depot Park. We've invested significantly in partnership with private owners on that end of Main Street. Farther north on Main Street, we invested with private redevelopers to make the old Masonic Temple on North Main Street into a terrific community showpiece and event center that is privately owned. But we were thrilled to be able to invest with, I think it's at least 10 different private companies in the downtown area and just outside downtown in the GCRA area at an average of more than $60,000 each for a total investment of well more than $1.5 million going into the area, part of it private, part of it public. And we've seen a lot of success with that, and we're going to see a lot more success. Beyond that, we know there's tremendous activity going on in places where for a long time there was no activity. Southwest Williston Road near 34th Street. Some of the UF Health work that is going on there is really, really exciting. The City of Gainesville is actually working on building out some new facilities to serve Southwest Gainesville in a way that we have not in the past done. We're seeing, trying to model where growth is happening and get ahead of that and put that community infrastructure in place before it's necessary, so that we know in Florida development happens in a hurry, and a formerly not very well used part of town can boom suddenly, and we want to make sure that we're prepared for that by having those civic opportunities available.
After the break, we'll continue our conversation with Mayor Harvey Ward. But first, here is an update on steps the City of Gainesville is taking to effectively address on a local level some of the issues that are facing communities across the country.
The city has completed the Southwest 62nd Boulevard Connector project, and the roadway is now open. The new span links Newberry Road with the Archer Road area and features a number of safety improvements, such as wider travel lanes, 7-foot bicycle lanes, and a 10-foot multi-use path. The city has partnered with Alachua County, Santa Fe College, and other community stakeholders to create the Community Gun Violence Prevention Alliance. The group is working collaboratively to reduce gun violence through a multidisciplinary approach known as Impact GNV. A Gainesville family has a new home thanks to a partnership between the city and Alachua Habitat for Humanity. The land for the project was donated by the city and is part of its comprehensive affordable housing strategy. The Gainesville City Commission has allocated $700,000 in unused American Rescue Plan Act funds to increase the number of available shelter beds at Grace Marketplace for neighbors experiencing homelessness. The funding was used to immediately outfit 10 new beds, and work is underway to renovate a vacant building on the site, adding 20 additional beds.
In the City of Gainesville, we believe in second chances. Introducing the Fair Chance Hiring Ordinance, a step towards creating a more inclusive and thriving community. Our Fair Chance Hiring Ordinance aims to reduce recidivism, decrease unemployment rates, and promote successful reintegration. We understand that denying employment opportunities based on criminal history not relevant to the job under consideration is unjust and harms our community. Under this ordinance, employers are prohibited from making statements in job postings or recruitment materials that automatically disqualify applicants based on criminal history. We're leveling the playing field by preventing employers from asking about or considering an individual's criminal history until after making a conditional employment offer. An employer covered by the ordinance must perform an individualized assessment before denying employment based on criminal history. We believe in providing a fair chance for everyone to succeed. Join us in creating a stronger, more inclusive Gainesville. For more information about the Fair Chance Hiring Ordinance, visit our website at gainesvillefl.gov/fairchancehiring. Together, we can build a brighter future for all.
are expecting an above average hurricane season this year. Hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th, and we're expecting 17 to 25 named storms, including 4 to 8 major hurricanes. Preparation is key. It's really important that every family have both an emergency plan and an emergency kit. Creating an emergency plan of action and preparing an emergency kit is crucial to ensure safety and readiness during hurricanes. A plan of action should include evacuation routes, designated meeting places for your family, important contacts, and information on how to secure your home. Inside their emergency kits, we should have essential items like medications, cash, flashlights, batteries, phone chargers, non-perishable food, water, first aid supplies, clothing, and important documents and phone numbers. We encourage everybody to sign up for Alert GNV so that you can receive messages during emergencies, and you can do that by going to safegnv.org. The city prepares for hurricane season in advance by exercising policies such as the city's continuity of operations plans. We conduct emergency management exercises and drills, and we stage and disseminate emergency supplies. A good example of that is sandbags. It's important to stay informed about potential storms, and we work with local agencies and organizations to coordinate response efforts and ensure that emergency response teams from Public Works, GPD, and GFR will be available throughout the storm. It's important not to underestimate the potential dangers and impacts of hurricanes. Preparation is key, and it's important to stay informed.
Mr. Mayor, continuing our conversation, GNV on the Move, let's shift gears and talk a little bit about some of the challenges that our community is facing. And I think everyone would agree that top of that list, as for many communities across the nation, is gun violence.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we know that gun violence is a national issue and certainly a Florida issue. But we can't just say it's a national issue, we don't have to worry about it. It's a local issue for us, and we have to provide local solutions. It's local for neighborhoods and families who are dealing with the real effects of gun violence. And sometimes dealing with it from the victim viewpoint, and many of our neighbors are dealing with it from the the PTSD of having gun violence happen in their neighborhood. That's a very real impact for our neighbors who, children growing up in our community who are hearing about and dealing with gun violence on a regular basis. We know that we have to respond. And I will say that City Manager Cynthia Curry has done a tremendous job of bringing together a team to approach this from a community health viewpoint, from a public health viewpoint, and not just trying to arrest our way out of the problem. That doesn't work. We can see that through our own experience, through the experience of communities nationwide. As I talk to other mayors through the Mayors Against Illegal Guns program and the other Every Town for gun safety, communities that are trying to find solutions here, we know that there's some best practices. And approaching gun violence as a community health issue is, I think, the best way to do this. And that's what we've been trying to do.
And I wanted to also focus on that because last year when the City Commission declared gun violence a public health crisis, it reframed this issue, it gave it some direction, it enabled the city manager to start thinking through the initiatives and programs that would be needed to carry out this policy directive.
Absolutely, and so she's been able to knit this together as not just Gainesville Police Department. It's not all on Chief Moya's shoulders. It is partially GPD, but it's also Gainesville Fire Rescue and our Community Resource Paramedicine program. Chief Joe Dixon has been out front on this through Gainesville Fire Rescue. Brandy Stone at the Community Resource Paramedicine program has really done a tremendous job of bringing a public health viewpoint to all of this. And recently we've been able to bring on a coordinator, Brittany Coleman, who has a great reputation throughout the community. We're very lucky to have her as the coordinator for Impact GNV, which is what we're calling our sort of umbrella for all our gun violence efforts. But really what it all boils down to is making sure that we as a city and our partners at Alachua County and Santa Fe College and all our other partners are able to give our neighbors, particularly our younger neighbors, the tools and the opportunities to grow and blossom in ways that make gun violence something you don't want to be involved in, and give alternatives to kids who otherwise might be at risk for becoming involved in violence. And I believe that if we offered those tools and opportunities in a way that meets people where they are, then we will be able to hold folks accountable in ways that are not traditionally harsh and that actually work. But it really is important that we offer the tools and opportunities, but that we do, make sure that folks are held accountable as well. There is a police presence involved in this, and there has to be. That accountability matters. It's part of the solution, but it's also part of the solution to make sure that we are doing everything we possibly can to give tools and opportunities to the community, folks who we might think of as traditionally at risk, but everybody, to make sure that we all can work through this public health issue together as a public in our community.
And as we wrap this part of the conversation, I wanted to refocus on the importance of the Alliance. We have the Community Gun Violence Prevention Alliance, which is now the city, it's Alachua County, and it's Santa Fe College. And having these major players in a room together, having this discussion feels so very crucial.
Absolutely, and we're able to use best practices from programs like One Nation, One Project, which is a program of the National League of Cities. We've been able to learn from that and really put it to work in our community over the last year as part of the Greater Impact GNV opportunity. And as you say, though, it's critical that we work with Alachua County, we work with Santa Fe College, and everyone else who is interested in being a partner in this, because we owe it to our neighbors to solve this problem in our community.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, taking time out of your schedule to spend some time with us, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you all putting us all together. It's great to talk to the community.
When we come back, we'll take a look at the latest exhibit at the historic Thomas Center Galleries. It is titled Soft: Tradition to Rebellion in Fiber Arts.
Hello, I'm Lee McMullen. I've been at RTS 18 years. Happy 50th anniversary.
Car burglaries are the #1 crime in the city of Gainesville. GPD asks all of our neighbors to lock your doors, to keep your valuables out of sight. If your wallet, your keys, or a firearm are left in sight in your car, the chances of your car being burglarized increase exponentially. Help reduce this crime in the city of Gainesville by keeping your valuables out of sight, locking your vehicles, and taking your keys inside. With these simple steps, you can avoid becoming a victim of the #1 crime in the city of Gainesville, car burglaries.
We hope you've enjoyed this look at the many exciting projects going on in Gainesville. We leave you now with a visit to Soft: Tradition to Rebellion in Fiber Arts. The exhibit is running through July 26th at the historic Thomas Center Galleries. Join us again next month as we take another look at GNV On The Move.
The exhibit here at the galleries at the historic Thomas Center currently is called Soft: From Tradition to Rebellion in Fiber Art. And as you can see by looking at the work, we have everything from traditional quilting to handmade paper arts, to beading, to woven pieces made of non-traditional materials as well as traditional materials, to flies that are tied, often for fly fishing, as well as the ASMR soft voice video that accompanies that. This exhibit is co-curated with the Gainesville Fine Arts Association. So in that collaborative spirit, I also worked with Katie Lemley, and we were able to have a different reach into the arts community.
Anne approached me saying like, oh, we have this opportunity to do a show. Are you interested? Fiber arts was something that we have been exploring at GFAA with that. We have quite a few members who work in fiber arts and materials and quilting. And how it kind of worked was we went ahead and just put a call out like, we're putting up this show, who's working with this medium, with these materials. There are some artists here who come from the academic world who are used to that, and then some artists who are just making their craft for blankets or for clothes, and this is an opportunity to see what are the threads that connect these two kinds of artists.
I'm really excited to be in this exhibition of fiber arts. I am trained classically as an oil painter, and at some point during COVID, I wanted to scale down and I wanted to make something very explorative and personal to me. So actually the top piece here was a piece that I made for myself to wear on my wedding. And all of the pieces are made with found objects. A lot of the beads come from one of my favorite places in Gainesville, Repurpose Project, and some of the beads were also heirloom that belonged to my late grandmother. So these are very personal, and I think something that's really wonderful about this exhibition is that the pieces in here only exist because of incredible intentionality on the part of the artists.
And I think what this show brings together is the work of the many hands, both contemporary and traditional and historic. They bring those things together and put it in a gallery and assign the value of it being art to objects that the makers weren't even thinking at the time. I think that some of the materials will expand anyone's idea of what fiber arts might be, and I think it's pretty delightful. It's a really pleasurable show in a lovely setting.